Living and traveling abroad sounds amazing, but if you're not organized, it can turn into chaos really quickly. Between flights, visas, money, gear, and just daily life, it's a lot to manage. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I stay organized while living overseas. Stick around.
Same four walls, same fading year. Got these plans stuck in my head. Southeast Asia calling me instead. Bangkok nights and Bali shores. Sick of dreaming, want something more. Pack your
I've been living abroad for years now. Different countries, different setups. And over time, I've had to build a system that works. Because if you don't have a system, then things slip through the cracks. Missed bookings, lost documents, dead batteries, you name it. So the first one I want to talk about, and this is probably the biggest, and it's changed everything for me. I keep everything important digital. I'm talking about my passport scans, visa documents, flight confirmations, hotel bookings, anything that I might need while traveling. I don't rely on paper copies anymore, although I do also have paper copies. Everything goes into cloud storage. Usually Google Drive or Dropbox, or now that I've switched to iPhone, I actually have both. I actually upload both at the same time. I go upload into the cloud and I upload into Google. And I keep it organized so I have everything at my fingertips, like a folder named country of the country that I'm in, or the specific trip, like this last trip in Nairobi. I had the visa, passport, all these different documents that I might need. And I also save things directly on my phone. And I make sure I can have access to it offline, so I can access them quickly without digging around. Because when you're traveling, things happen. You might lose your bag, your phone might die, or you just don't have a signal. But if everything is backed up properly, then you're never really stuck. It just gives you that peace of mind knowing that no matter what happens, you still have access to everything you need. Now, this is where everything starts, and that is your everyday carry. And honestly, this is something that I don't cheap out on. And this is the bag that I've been using, the NioSmart Herman Pro. And it's honestly made a big difference on how I stay organized day to day. When you're moving around cafes, airports, different cities, you need something that keeps everything in place. What I like about this one is how structured it is. You've got separate compartments for your laptop, your gear, your cables, so you're not digging through your bag every time you need something. It also looks clean, which matters if you're filming or just out in public. It doesn't look like a bulky travel backpack. And it's comfortable, especially if you're carrying it all day. For me, staying organized isn't just digital. It's physical too. And having a bag like this just makes everything easier. I'll leave a link in the description and also the pinned comment if you want to check it out. Next one is your money system. If your money isn't organized, nothing is. This is one of those things that you don't think about until something goes wrong. What I do is I never rely on one card, ever. I always travel with at least 2 to 3 cards and never all with me at the same time. In fact, sometimes I'll have one card in the wallet, but I do have my phone with my Apple Pay, or you could use Google Wallet where you can have other cards on there as well. And you want to make sure they are from different banks. That way, if one gets blocked, lost, or stolen, or it just doesn't work for whatever reason, I've got backups ready to go. I also separate how I use them. One card is for daily spending, another one is more of a backup, and then I keep one stored in my bag just in case. On top of that, I always carry a bit of local cash. Not a lot, but enough to get me out of a situation if my cards aren't working for some reason, or it's a place that just doesn't accept them. And I mix both physical and digital, where I have Apple Pay or Google Pay set up for when it's available, plus my physical cards. And again, what I have gone to mostly now is I really don't use my ATM debit card much. Maybe to make a monthly withdrawal for spending cash, and that's really about it. I use my Capital One Cash Rewards card where I get 3% cash back on groceries and like 1.5% cash back on everything else. There's links to it down in the description. Another thing I do is I keep my money in separate accounts. I don't keep everything in one place. That way, if something happens, fraud, lockout, or whatever, it doesn't take me out completely. Because the reality is, when you're living abroad, things don't always go smoothly. So the goal isn't to be perfectly set up, it's just to be prepared. Because cards get flagged, ATMs don't work, systems go down, but once your money system is set up, everything else becomes a lot easier and a lot less stressful. And number 4 is one that people often overlook, but it's actually one of the most important. Your internet is your lifeline when you're living abroad. I always make sure I have a local SIM card. As soon as I land, it's cheap. You can do the eSIM as well, like Holafly, but it just makes things much easier. Everything from ordering rides, checking maps, or just staying in contact. But I don't stop there. I always have a backup. For me, it's my T-Mobile international plan. So if I have to, I can switch that phone on and voila, I have data. For some people, it's the eSIM. So if something happens to my main SIM or I'm crossing over into another country, I can switch over instantly and stay connected, which, like I said, mainly I would use my T-Mobile for that. But I try my hardest not really ever to have to use that. But like I said, the reality is networks go down, SIMs stop working, or you end up somewhere with bad coverage. And if you don't have internet, everything becomes harder. Payments, directions, bookings, even basic communication. That is why I always look at things like this. No internet equals no organization. And when you've got both a local SIM card or an international data plan like T-Mobile or another one, or an eSIM, you're pretty much covered everywhere you go. And number 5, and this is what really keeps everything running smoothly, is my routine and check system. Because the truth is when you move around a lot, things can slip through the cracks if you're not paying attention. So once a week, typically, I usually do a check of everything. I look at my upcoming flights, confirm bookings, check my accommodations, and just make sure there are no surprises coming up. I also review my finances usually once a week to see what I've spent, what categories, see if there's anything I need to cut back on, or do I have extra money this month where I can spend on something else. I also make sure I don't have these subscriptions. I've tried really hard not to have any subscriptions anymore. That's something I kind of did away with. Typically now what I do is just pay for a year in full if I want something. And I also put it where it's not auto-renewed because I don't want any surprises. I'd rather just be notified, hey, your subscription's ending, do you want to renew it? Rather than just a surprise $200 taken out of your account. But it usually doesn't take long, 10-15 minutes to make sure everything is all set up and running good. But it can save a lot of stress later. Then on a daily level, I keep it pretty simple. Before I head out, I do a quick checkup. Phone charged, power bank charged, wallet, card, essentials, just the basic. Do I have enough cash for the day? Because it's always the small things that kind of mess up your day. So instead of relying just on memory, I rely on systems. And I built these habits over time, and now it's just kind of automatic. And honestly, once you have a system like this in place, everything just feels easier and more under control. And number 6 is the less you have, the easier it is to stay in control and organized. And this is something I really had to learn over time. When you're carrying too much stuff, everything just becomes harder. Packing takes longer. You lose more things easily, and your bag turns into chaos. So now I try to keep things as minimal as possible. I focus on bringing items that have multiple uses. Gear that I actually use every day, not just in case stuff that ends up just sitting there. Because in reality, most of the things that you think you need, you really don't. And the more clutter you have, the more decisions you have to make throughout the day. What to carry, what to use, where things are, it all kind of adds up. But when you simplify everything, it just makes life easier. Less to carry, less to manage, less to think about. And I did this in Kenya. I had the one check-in bag with my laptop. And that was it. And it was so easy to kind of switch from Airbnb to Airbnb, to one city to the next, to one location to the next, to come back to Bangkok, to get on your flights, to hop on the train from Nairobi to Mombasa. It was just so much easier. And when your physical space is clean and organized, it actually helps your mindset too. Everything feels just a lot lighter, a lot smoother, and a lot less stressful. And the last one I want to mention is organization isn't just about being perfect, it's about reducing stress. Because when you're living and traveling abroad, things are always changing. New places, new routines, unexpected situations. It's just part of the lifestyle. So the goal isn't to have everything just perfectly planned out. It's to have systems in place so you're not constantly reacting to problems. When you know where your things are, when your money is set up, when your plans are clear, it frees up your mental space. You're not worrying about the small stuff anymore, and that's really the point of all of this. When everything is in place, you actually enjoy traveling more. You're more present, you're more relaxed, and you're able to focus more on the experience instead of dealing with problems all the time. If you can get organized while living abroad, everything becomes much easier from travel to daily life. And if you want more tips like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button, the like button, and the bell notification so you're notified every time I come out with a new video. Also, if you're curious about the bag I showed in the video, I'll leave a link in the description and also in the pinned comment so you can check it out and pick yourself up one today. All right, guys, I will see you in the next one. Ciao.
I'm tired of waiting here. Same four walls, same fading year. Got these plans stuck in my head. Southeast Asia calling me instead. Bangkok nights and Bali shores. Sick of dreaming, want something more. Pack your bags, don't hesitate. Gio, let's